Tales from the Spacepod is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, I suggest you turn this wacky shit right off. Otherwise, welcome to the pod.
Yellow.
What's up?
What's happening? Are you safely in your car?
Oh, I'm in my car, but Jen locked her keys in her car, so I'm picking her up, and then we have to go home. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to be on until I get there.
Yeah, that happens all too easy.
Man, I'm sorry I'm a little late. I literally got lost in a stupid fucking video I was preparing for news quiz. And I'd only intended to watch it for like a second, but it was so enrapturing.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm Skyping on my phone with the voice thing. Dude, I can't fucking talk. I've been at work for 9 hours.
That's just a podcast. You don't need to talk.
Right?
That's right. What is this talking business?
Usually tell you, yeah, never
Oh
mind.
boy, here we go. Well,
Three's
we're starting
company,
off
bitch.
on a good foot tonight.
What's that? What?
I was going to see use your telepathic thing, but whatever.
Your telepathic thing is wiener? Is that what you're trying to say, Lon?
Sure.
By the power of my telepathic wiener, I communicate my thought to ye.
Over the airwaves.
Boing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be an antenna of some sort, wouldn't it? That can broadcast other things other than jizz. And I guess human life. That's a pretty good transmission.
What yours doesn't?
That'd be an embarrassing way to find out. I have a faulty wiener. Doesn't transmit properly. I was doing some work at Pybus Market here in town earlier today, and a guy came up to me when I was sitting in... I sit out in the middle of the... it's like a mall of... how would you say? Sort of like a farmer's...
food court.
It's like a mall of all local boutiques and eateries. It's great. I've been going there to work a lot. This guy was somebody who I just had a job interview with. He runs a local production company, and I was pitching him my design, editing, and music chops for inclusion in some of their future projects. And it went pretty well, and he was impressed, and he asked me back after their winter break to basically pitch myself to the entire team. So that's where we left it. Now, when he came up to me in the market, I had my iPad out, and I was just looking up stories for the show and sipping my iced tea. We shook hands, and he said that they were just talking about me up at the office, which is right up the street, and they were wondering if I could maybe come in and do some vocal work for a PUD spot they were all working on.
Nice.
He said they were looking for a Sam Elliott type of feel, the cowboy with the big mustache. Most people know him from Big Lebowski. Darkness washed over the dude. He's up to it, I said I'd love to do that, and I'm confident that I could deliver what you're looking for. And we talked a little bit more, and the whole time I'm just kind of sitting there, and he's standing holding some coffee he just picked up at the market. And after a few minutes of chatting, he headed back up the street to his office. This is when I go back to my iPad to realize that this entire time the entire time he was standing above me talking about possible employment, my iPad was displaying absolutely nothing but 30 sets of naked tits. And with the brightness on full, son.
And on that note,
What?
So a couple
20 minutes.
A couple days ago, I was working on a painting that had a bunch of breasts growing all over this tree-like thing with 3 heads.
Sounds like a legitimate cover to me.
It was a lovely little scene, but I needed reference, how light falls on the boobies. So naturally, I looked up titty fetish websites, and it was only like I was on like a preview page, like a typical porn page, Pornhub or whatever. It was just like a bunch of windows. Like, do you want to see these tits? Do you want to see these? So it was literally 30 different close-ups of well-lit tits.
Unbelievable and fantastic.
When I closed whatever window I was working on, I guess right before the dude walked up to me, the next one must have just been the Tit Fest page, and there is zero chance he didn't see it. Zero. He's standing over me.
He will never forget that interview.
Again,
that's the tit guy.
The entire time we were talking. So, of course, he didn't say anything, but as I was thinking about it later, I was like, it must have just looked like I was sitting there in a very public place, right in the middle of it, just looking at porn at 10 in the morning on a fucking Monday. Y'all hiring?
Holy shit.
I got nothing going on for me. Oh.
Something like that happened to me a couple weeks ago for the podcast as well. Do you remember that story I brought with that girl that was found like 100 years ago in France? Her mom kept her locked up in the room.
Oh, yeah.
that picture of that chick up on my browser because I was typing my notes up on that story.
Yes.
And I minimized it because I had to get back to work and do something. And then I had this new girl we have, and she's a good-looking girl, younger, and she comes in and she needed help with a web thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, hold on. I pulled up my browser, and she goes, well, that's disturbing. And I'm like, oh, God.
Just my screensaver.
That's just Mom. Don't worry.
Take a seat on old Uncle Chrissy's lap here. Wow. That is a first impression. Go ahead, Lau.
I like them thin. Yeah.
You like him thin? That would have been a good save. Just like, well, what can I say? I like him thin. Is she a thin gal?
I'm looking for thin inspiration.
Oh, that's funny.
That's not good.
Always fun when you get a cute new coworker, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. Really?
I don't shit where I eat anymore. I did that once and it was fucking terrible. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. It's nice to have.
Well, I'm not even, you don't necessarily have to date them, but having a cute so-and-so around always brightens up the day, I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
John Mark, you with us again, or no? I think John Mark's in a bit of a, I won't say emergency situation, but I think his girlfriend locked herself out, and he's got to help her get something situated. So we'll wait for him to join us.
You got that much from that? Jesus Christ.
Well, we were on a little bit before you got on.
I'm fucking with you.
Oh, damn it.
I went to an art gallery this weekend.
How did that
pretty
go?
amazing. They went pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. It's A+ place.
Yeah.
Way to cheat on Ron. Way to cheat on Ron.
Yeah, it probably was cheating on me.
No, it was the radar station. So.
It was indeed. It was a good show. It was part 2 of the Post-it Note show here at the Radar Station Gallery. It was a good time. I was not expecting many people. 1, it was the second opening, and 2, there was a huge art show going on over at the museum. In fact, I was in it. I had 2 paintings in it.
So you left your art gallery immediately.
I was going to, but then we got busy. It was really slow at first, and then all of a sudden people started pouring in, and we were rocking and rolling for the rest of the night. So it was a good turnout. Awesome. Lily Pad stayed for a while, and they were visiting outside. I kind of got tired of talking. Went upstairs, laid down. You get tired of talking at these things, and it's not that I don't like the people and I'm bored with the conversation. It's just you literally, physically get tired of talking. And you sort of getting pulled in all the directions, and people want to talk to you about the art. They want to talk about your art. They want to ask about this artist. I'm always exhausted after those fucking things, but it was a good turnout, and I think we got one more month of the Post-it Notes before we get back into the old bi-monthly show. So a good time was had by all.
Did you decide on if you're going to have the next show on New Year's or the week after?
There will be no opening on New Year's because the first Friday people aren't doing anything, because I think Friday is New Year's Day, I don't know. Yeah, so it's falling right on it. If it was a couple of days on either side of it, we might have done it, but not for this time. Everyone's kind of taking a break, and I've sort of taken a 3-month break. I did the Post-it Notes, and I've just been slowly adding to them. So if you haven't made it to the show, they will be here for another month. And if you have been by to see the show, it's grown, so it's changed. Definitely come back by. There's tons of awesome shit down there. I have found a box full of Cripster dolls I'd forgotten about. They're tucked away, left over from Comic-Con.
I've been there for a year.
Yeah, literally.
18.
Literally. Selling some of those. Those are great stocking stuffers. So if you're looking for some locally created art, swing on by the Radar Station Gallery. Let me know you're coming. I'll open it up for you. But, Chris, you had, I don't know if this is going to be a new segment. With the way we do things around here, it will probably make a great ongoing segment, and that is the Gaff of the Week, the Spacepod Gaff of the Week. You want to share what you had ready to go for that?
Indeed, I do. I'm certain that my name's going to be attached to this little moniker more often than I'd like.
It'll happen. It's bound to happen.
This week, Ron, it's you, motherfucker. Last week you brought a story to the table. It was a nice little photo of what you thought to be a satellite capturing another satellite lower.
Very low. Dangerously low, some would say.
Oh, yeah. And it was fucking fascinating looking. In fact, I put it up on the Facebook page, and people were like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Until...
fucking idiots.
Until it was shot down by a listener. I don't have it in front of me. Damn
It's Shen, who is a pal, and he, pretty early on, he's been hanging consistently here in the Radar Station Gallery. He's an excellent artist, and we've gotten to know each other over, and I think he listens pretty regularly. I don't know if he just saw that online, but that is Shen. He is the one that found that out.
So Ron's Gaff of the Week, everyone. Round of applause for Ron.
Yeah, well, what it actually ended up being was a fish farm.
No. Yeah, because I can finish the story. I'm so excited to shame you.
2 gaffes of the week. But it was It's amazing because it really does look like a satellite, but it's, this big floating fish farm with these giant solar panels on top. Or I guess they're solar panels. They look like them. So it did look like
I think they're pens, like fish pens.
Oh, are they pens? Yeah, I guess that would make sense because they'd be pretty huge, but
square like nature.
It looks exactly like satellite. But when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, and it does make way more sense. So yeah, sorry about that. Funny thing is, I went back to the website that I found the pic at to see if anyone had connected that, and they had, but they had also linked to another story about these little mini satellites roaming all around called skyboxes. Now we talked about the CubeSats. Yeah. And those are fairly small satellites too, but the difference with the CubeSat is the company CubeSat launches these things themselves and they provide access to them. This company, Skybox, actually makes these tiny, adorable satellites. I got to send you a picture. You got to see how cute these things are.
They kind of look like cells of some kind.
It looks like 4-inch PVC pipe that's capped with little solar panels on them.
They look like little lightsabers.
Yeah. Minecraft lightsabers.
Mm-hmm. Now, these are real, and there are around, I guess, 80 to 100 of them up there now. And I want you guys to watch this quick little video, and I think you will immediately see what's unique about the footage you get from these versus, say, from Google Earth. First of all, it's pretty high def. Now, most of this footage, I believe, is black and white, but they do have color cameras. Keep watching, and you'll see what's different.
So are these the ones that you could like tap into and just...
These are live action.
It's live video. You are seeing cars driving down the freeway. At one point you see airplanes taxiing out on the runway. This is real-time video. And we've never seen this before in anything that's open to the public. Now, Lyle, you asked if this is something you can tap into. It's even crazier. These are satellites that you buy, you put into space yourselves, and you control. This is the public open market satellite.
Wow. That's creepy.
The company pitches to a wide variety, from people who want to monitor crop health, they say, or massive farms and humanitarian aid, mission directors. As you can see, all that will all go down, but it goes on to say that companies will have a greater and greater access to images from microsatellites. Planet Labs is another company that just launched the largest flock of 28 imaging microsatellites from the ISS and hopes to offer scientists and the public the chance to track changes on the Earth's surface with much higher frequency than ever before. Now, you may be asking yourself, how will this affect, Google Earth? Well, Google just bought the entire fucking company of Skybox, so there you go.
Wow.
We are the Google. We own the skies. But it got me thinking, I bet soon we will all, well, not all of us, but a lot of us will be flying around a privately owned satellite, the same way that we're, more and more people are flying private drones everywhere. And we talked about the CubeSats again, and apparently, and surprisingly, it seems that anyone can put their own satellite into orbit. There's no... there's barely any paperwork to do. You just send your shit up. A low orbit being around 100 to 150 miles up. You build it and launch it via a weather balloon and get it into low orbit where it will likely stay. If nothing fucks with it, it can stay up there indefinitely, but most people find that they come down after a few months because they're small, they're in lower orbit, which there's actual weather manipulation in lower orbit that's not in the upper orbit, so there's more things that can fuck with it. But on average, they stay up several months. I mean, this is pretty fucking major developments that are happening here, and the consequences could be pretty fucking troubling. I mean, forget peeping. Wait till terrorists have access to hundreds of satellites in low orb.
It sounds way too easy. I think I put more effort into leaving you an upper decker once.
Give me an upper orb. Yeah. Shit, son. I mean, I've always wondered how these static images come from satellites, though. Like even the ones we're looking at now, those are pretty much cruising over slowly. But we've all seen how our military has footage where they're blowing the shit out of some ISIS assholes out in the desert. The camera is perfectly still, and it's just like focused in on like some little shack.
How is that? That's what I was trying to figure out.
Launches the fucking missile. Like, what's happening there? Because what's crazy is these satellites are flying by at like between 7 and 10,000 miles per hour. So I looked into it, and it's really just a combination of rotation stabilizers on the actual satellite that it can keep them stable for short periods of time, like we mentioned on the last show. But there are also gyroscopes of all sorts of image stabilizers and equipment around the actual camera.
I do like it. I do like it when you gyroscope around.
I like a gyroscope. Let's do the gyroscope. I can mash potato. So these all work to lock the image in, but only for a short time. There are also what's called a geostationary satellite. These cruise along the equator, and they basically rotate along with the Earth. And these are especially useful with communication satellites, as you can imagine, but they also do provide a more stable photography. For some reason, it only works along the equator, that it just sort of teeters along with the Earth. It's basically like if you look up at the night sky and you saw a satellite trucking across the sky, that's easy to spot. But you could be looking right at one and think it's just a star because it's locked in place. That's how it would look as it was cruising across the night sky.
I think it has to do something with the gravitational rotation of the Earth. Like your.
Well, yeah, it follows the natural rotation of the Earth. Just cruises along with us.
Being the first day night of Hanukkah, like a ladle, if you spin one.
Did you say ladle?
I guess that's what the poor Jews spin, the ladle.
No, they don't have soup, bitch. Come on.
Although could a dreidel really cost more than a ladle? It probably is more expensive.
Yeah.
But happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, and spin those ladles. I like that. Ladle. We should start the Gentile version of Hanukkah, and the very first thing we do is spin ladles.
I like it.
Yeah.
I got a good follow up on that story. Actually,
go ahead.
It was a story that I came across, not to one up you, but it was a very cool.
But it's better, Ron.
You just hear his dick hit the ground. What, Ron? What?
I'm going to send you the video right here. No, this is great though. This is a company called Blue Origin, and it's actually owned by the founder of Amazon, right?
Okay.
So what this is basically a reusable rocket. And what it does is it goes into space, up in the upper atmosphere, up into space.
Yeah.
And it allows about 5-6 minutes that you're in space, and you're at the very tip of this rocket, right? So as it goes up, it separates.
This does not look good.
So you're clear up there.
God, it's a complete cock rocket, isn't it? The tip is exactly a dick tip.
So if you like
just the tip. They should have called this shit just the tip in space.
Mm-hmm.
Just in space. But what happens is your I don't know what you ever call it, the cockpit. The
cock tip, yeah.
It ends up coming down, and it'll parachute down slow, and the rocket itself comes down. Wow. And it actually it sets up rockets and stops it from as it falls. It slowly comes down. It's amazing. It's fucking super fucking cool.
Well, I'm watching the space dildo entering space as we speak. I'm sorry, that's a fucking space dildo.
It is. It's straight up the ass.
It is going high. Still going, and it's... Okay, so now it's... The tip has been severed from the cock. Floating through 4 minutes of weightlessness, the video claims, see breathtaking views beyond the biggest windows in space. Criminy. This is like recreation, then.
Yeah, no, this is strictly civilian. I mean, if you had the money, you could go do this, like next weekend.
Yeah.
Is what try to do.
But then it comes down in fucking parachutes. Dude, hopefully safely to Earth. I would not be comf.
Check out the shaft, how it comes down.
Whoa. Yeah, heads up. Heads up. You thought fucking lawn darts was dangerous, kids.
You know there's gyros in that son of a bitch.
Okay, it just shot a cum shot. Did you guys see that? Did you get that part yet?
My shaft's still coming down. My shaft is still coming down. I repeat.
Wow.
Oh, wow, it did shoot a cum shot. That's that reverse jet you're talking about,
isn't it? The cum shot is what put on the brakes, and now the shaft has landed perfectly perpendicular.
Is this real?
Perpendicular.
This is real. This just happened last week.
But some of it is definitely CGI, but this part looks real.
That launch is completely
real. That's fucking fascinating. The capsule coming down, the shaft returning home.
Yeah, the shaft coming down, the cum shot land. That's science.
That's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing is,
look at that footage of that thing just hovering. It's coming down like it's gonna rape the fucking Earth up its ass, and then it just
That is the next thrill ride. To be like you are on the shaft coming down.
Mm-hmm. And now they're
on a
uncorking the
chair
champagne.
outside.
Wow, that's really
at
amazing.
least, you know,
What
a
did I
couple
miss?
Everything.
You missed a pretty sexual rocket mission that ended with a cum shot and an uncorking of a bottle of champagne. It's all downhill from here. Let's just end the show.
Yeah,
Do the
Jesus
next
Christ.
Sorry, I did too good.
Yeah,
No,
that's pretty good stuff.
Okay.
The thing is that salvage all the equipment and stuff like that. It makes it feasible and cost effective to actually do this and step forward into processing more.
Oh, it's amazing.
Because
Usually we
that's-
just
that's-
lose 90% of the craft. And what comes
Exactly.
back is not reusable. So basically you lose 100% of the craft.
Exactly. So and it's just way too expensive. This route they could actually do it, and it's cost effective.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Fucking fascinating.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Before
Yeah, you got to
we-
watch that footage, John Mark. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
Before we move on, there's something I did want to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see that? You had to have seen it because I sent it to you. Well, actually, that doesn't make any sense because you don't see anything, Ron. I've seen your inbox. But
I'm working on it.
the Revenant bear rape fiasco.
Oh, I saw that. I didn't watch it.
I
Okay.
saw the story, something about him getting raped a couple times by a bear.
There's bear
You know
rape.
what that is?
There's no bear rape. He's in, he's out. I'm so confused. But I
Now,
think,
this is an upcoming movie.
yeah, I don't know much about it. I think Effie read the book,
Called The Revenant?
The
Revenant?
Revenant.
Yeah.
Revenant, yeah.
And apparently, well, there was a breaking story that came out saying that in the movie,
I'll say
Leonardo
it's
DiCaprio's
breaking.
raped. Breaking.
That is
raped
big
twice
news.
by a
Listen,
bear.
Leo DiCaprio being raped by a fucking bear.
Twice.
It's really surprising I haven't clicked on that story.
I
This
know.
is super fucking busy.
So that came out one day. Next day, it was blasted by the movie execs saying that is not in this movie. That is not a fake story. That's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
But it was around enough on enough websites to make me go,
Yeah.
how did that fucking happen?
Yeah. Well, Effie read the book, and I think she jumped in and said that there was no bear rape in the book. So it
Yeah.
would be puzzling to see that added in the
just
screen
puzzling.
adaptation. But it's begging for someone to make that scene now. But people are talking about it. I mean, who knows?
People want bear rape.
People
you know
want
what? People
fucking bear
demand
rape.
it.
I would pay good money to see Leo DiCap get
Get
his
down on some bear D.
get his
Well.
behind broken by a fucking bear.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a Corollaism, by the way. I cannot take credit for it, Bahayman. Anyway, good stuff.
Do you want a little bit of a cheery kind of news story?
Yeah,
And I love
because
it.
I think John Mark is going to get into a little bit of serious shit before we get on to my soup to jar.
Being Thanksgiving and stuff like that, it's all kind of food related, and even with Christmas time. There's this artist in the UK that actually made a nativity scene out of cheese, and I want you guys to see this because it's fucking amazing.
Oh, jeez.
I love cheese.
Right?
Okay.
I fucking love cheese too.
It's the story of the baby Jesus.
Jesus. It is.
Okay, I got a video here.
But I loved food, so I became a food artist. That was 15 years ago. You get nativities made out of gingerbread and chocolate, and to actually do something, a savoury option
This is
for the
amazing. This is good.
nativity was really lovely to do, and I was quite pleased to have a go at doing it. But like I said, there's no manuals. I can't look up, to do Joseph's
That's well
take
done.
this part, and you'll get it.
That's really
I
well
just
done.
really give it a go. So basically, starting off with the big blocks of cheese and using clay sculpting tools
Cheese.
to
Now we will get the holy crackers.
to cut away all the way
I like that
using a
fucking
sharp
The
knife.
cow.
And then the bits that have been cut off, I've actually put those into the
I like to eat its cut off bits.
and then mush it up. So it's a bit like working with clay. And
She's a good sculptor.
It's amazing. There's little baby cheeses.
Onto the block.
You retardist.
And use a famous cocktail stick to actually do all the detail. Then I pop them in the fridge, they firm up. I can then take them out again, add some more details, and then they really come alive. When I'm sculpting with cheese, the hardest part really is the faces. And
Yes, as you might imagine.
the detail on the face is tiny.
Wow,
It's really
beautiful.
small. So
Right.
instead of using my normal sculpting tools, I've basically relied on a cocktail stick.
Don't we
So
all?
really, really technical.
I want to just. Don't you just want to fucking bite into one of the three wise men?
But it's
Oh yeah.
I mean,
That's
forget the
fine.
fact that her hands have been all over it. Just fucking chomp that texture.
Good.
I feel wiser having eaten the head off that Wiseman. I wonder what religious people think about that? I suppose that'd have to be kind of blasphemous, right? Or is it? I don't know. It's beautifully done. Doesn't seem to be mocking it.
Jesus.
I don't know. I find it funny what they choose to and choose not to deem as blasphemous sometimes. You know what I mean? It seems arbitrary.
Sure.
Yeah.
John Mark, you had mentioned before the show that you wanted to talk about this California shooting a little bit. You've seen some strangeness connected to it?
Yeah. So remember when Sandy Hook happened? There was all these people crying false flag and all that stuff.
Sure.
So
every shooting, that happens every shooting.
Right, but that one in particular,
it did.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was a bunch of kids, and that's pretty brutal, right?
Yeah.
And I just didn't, for whatever reason, at that point, I just didn't see it. But with this one, I was at work while it was happening, and so we usually have the news channel on as we're working, just in the background, right? They're cutting to eyewitness testimony and this and that and the other thing, and I just kept hearing people saying there's probably 3 people involved, like 3 shooters, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear descriptions of like 3, large white men with paramilitary gear and assault rifles and all that stuff. And then suddenly they're saying, oh, it's this Middle Eastern couple, a man and a wife.
Yeah.
How does it go from 3 large white men to 2 Middle Eastern people, a man and a woman, right?
Yeah.
And then this weird debacle with their apartment, like suddenly the press is just like storming in there.
That was strange.
Isn't it supposed to be a crime scene? Has this ever happened before? Like
and live, like we're taking you in live now, and let's go through the door. Oops, stepped over that
like
evidence.
What are those wires?
Crazy, weird circus that didn't make any sense. It's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of weirdness attached to this particular case, but I saw somebody post something on Facebook like, oh shit, here we go again. And so I turned on the news, and for the next, 10 hours, I was pretty much glued to the news because it was an ongoing thing. They were chasing these people, and then it culminated in that shootout, and that was all captured on camera. So people, by cell phones and stuff, so people were posting those videos, and it was like, holy shit, this is crazy, and what the fuck is this? Because they were speculating about terrorism fairly early on, certain news organizations were, and it didn't seem like terrorism, because terrorism is let's kill as many people as we can and terrorize as many people as we can. And by all accounts, these people walked right by an awful lot of folks on the first floor. Then they went to the second floor. I think it was like on the third floor or something. If not floors, there was something like that where they walked past a whole bunch of people to get to this one conference room where they shot everybody up. Then when they were done, they walked back out and left. That doesn't sound like terrorism. That sounds like a very specific targeted assault, something personal, But then again, and I remember the very first reports were that these were Caucasian people that they're looking for. Although I think, isn't Middle Eastern technically Caucasian?
Yeah, but there's a difference between describing somebody as looking like a paramilitary person in tactical gear and the pictures that we're seeing of supposedly the couple. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck?
Well, I remember hearing, I flipped back and forth. Fox News, I'm sorry for all of their many, many flaws, being the number one news channel on the planet, and they have been for a long time, they always have the best fucking coverage when something like this is going on. Live, news, and you don't have to sit through Bill O'Reilly's take on it. But still Fox News, and they were, I think, the first ones to start kicking around the idea of these names, and as soon as you heard them, you're like, well, those are clearly Muslim names or Middle Eastern names, and that's immediately where they went. From the rest of the time, they were talking about terror and radical Islamic terror. And the other networks weren't doing that as much, but as it turned out, allegedly that is what we are looking at. I know there's a lot of people listening that don't follow the news at all, so I guess we should give a few details. A husband and wife went into the man's workplace. They were having some sort of meeting / Christmas party. There was also discrepancy on that to begin with, and he had an argument with a Jew. Is that still the going story, that he was arguing with a Jew about Islam and to prove that Islam was,
I don't know.
I guess the Jew was attacking them that, well, Islam is not a peaceful religion. So then the guy goes, and I guess he lived right down the street, comes back with his wife and an entire fucking arsenal and shoots up the place, including that dude. I guess to prove that Islam is a peaceful religion is the going story. And then they took off, and
I'm not buying it.
In a really weird slow chase, they get shot to death in the middle of a street. Go ahead, Lau.
I heard some on the lines like the people that shot up were people that just recently threw them a
baby shower. They had a 6-month-old baby. Yeah. Like I said, there's
not about stories. I can't really say anything either. So
there are some interesting mini stories all around this one. Like the 3 or 4 neighbors have all said that they were tempted to call the police on these guys in the days leading up to the shooting because they were acting strangely, as they said. They were up all night working in the garage, tinkering things together, and they had all the strange odors coming out, packages being delivered all day long. Odd stuff for parents of a newborn baby, but they didn't call the cops because they were Middle Eastern. They didn't want to appear to be racist or insensitive. If that's true, that's a dangerous fucking phenomenon. There was a stockpile of bombs in this house, and it's possible that would have been discovered and no one would have died. But so you are calling shenanigans on this, hey, John Mark?
I'm
you
calling
think that this is setting up more Muslim?
I think there's definitely a motivation behind it, of some sort. It seems like it could be a couple things. It could be trying to stir up more anti-Muslim sentiment, or it could be, even though we don't really hear about the refugees anymore, it could be like they could have been planned to say, like,
funny how fast that went away.
See what happens when the refugees come in. It could have been something like that. I don't know.
Well, we talk about it all the time on the show. Even if it's not a false flag, everyone is going to use them for their own political agenda anyway. We never miss an opportunity to further our political agenda, no matter what side we're on. And shootings are the thing. They're sort of like the ultimate version of this, because there's no talking point on this subject that hasn't been said 1,000 times. But it just goes away, and then a shooting happens, and then it's right back to it. But nothing has ever changed. It's just the same dialogue. Then it goes away. Then another shooting, and it goes away. So the people that are worried that their guns will be taken away say that stuff like this, all of it is false flag to get the guns taken away. Then other people say, well, you can look at it on the other side, that it's a false flag to raise more hate against Islam and Muslims, and raise xenophobia and Muslim phobia. I saw a headline. Did Donald Trump say he thinks that no Muslims should be allowed in the country? Was that a real thing? Do you guys know that?
Yep.
He actually said that.
It just illustrates to me how slippery our reality has become, because basically, if you buy into whatever is on the news or on TV, if you believe that is the 100% truth, they can basically tell you anything that they want to, and you'll believe it. You know what I mean? This thing that happened, I don't know, man. I'm just not buying the whole thing. It's like, I believe that someone's creating a reality, a narrative that they want to project as the truth, and pretty soon people are just going to believe, oh, that's what happened. You know what I mean? And I don't think it is.
Yeah. Well, it certainly. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if that was the case, as I'm sure you guys know. I believe that a lot of things have been false flags over the years. I mean, some of this shit's been proven to be false flags, but the recent stuff, like the shootings and all that, there's no proof on that. But when all of a sudden you have somebody that just goes out and does something crazy and everyone's like, where the fuck did that come from? That's interesting, right? It's like, some of these stories you can see, like Columbine, that kid was picked on, and well, he listened to Megadeth. Of course he was going to go to his school and shoot up some people. But sometimes they can find a troubling past or something that they can sort of spin into a story. A lot of these more and more are just people for seemingly no reason going in and shooting up a place. Those are really interesting. And if the government has the capability of somehow doing a Manchurian Candidate type of brainwashing, I have a real hard time believing that they wouldn't use it. That's my stance, but that's how I feel about our fucking government. Don't trust them, sir. Don't trust them. Never have, never will.
The odd thing I heard about, I did hear a little bit about it, was something along the lines of Obama had a speech and mentioned something along the lines of if you're on a no-flies list, that you shouldn't be able to buy firearms in the first place. Mm-hmm. And apparently neither two of these people were on the list.
Well, wasn't it? I thought that somebody had bought the guns and then given it to. I don't think that these guys actually bought the guns themselves, did they?
Well, no, it wouldn't have mattered. They weren't on the no-fly list anyway to begin with.
Right.
I just thought it was odd.
But what's funny about that is that no one's really talking about that. These guys, I'm pretty sure, last I heard on the news, these guys did not buy the guns. They got them from someone else who bought the guns.
Right.
Is that not the ultimate loophole? Now, I'm not an anti-gun person at all, but it's funny that you never hear that simple thing being talked about. Like, well, okay, we'll put them on this list or do that list, and we'll track guns this way or that way. Guess what you can't do? Prevent somebody from handing you a fucking gun. All of a sudden, that the whole system's been compromised.
My point is that any one of us could be on that list just because of what we do on the podcast, just because voicing our own opinions.
We've talked about that before, yeah. We're going to be on some list.
Al-Qaeda's flyover list, right, Rob?
Shoved up our ass. That Al-Qaeda thing weirds me out to this day. Any new listeners, I know we talk about it all the time. I was back when I was in the middle of, I was really at the height of my interest in this
puberty
flight tracking app that I got on my phone, and there's a fucking plane flying right for me, right for Wenatchee, but specifically right toward my house. Labeled, it wasn't like N77B, it was Al-Qaeda. That's what the plane was assigned. I got a screenshot of it and put it on the
Al-Qaeda, the number 4, Ronster.
Coming for you, bitch. Anyway, anything else before we get on tonight's soup de jour? DB Cooper. Did you look up the DB Cooper thing?
Yes. So this is, how many times has it been now that they've said that they've come up with a new suspect? It's like 3 or 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Every few years. It's sort of like Amelia Earhart. It's in the news every few years. Well, we think we may have the location. It's the same thing with DB. And everyone's got a picture of their dad that looks like DB Cooper because everyone looked like DB Cooper in the 60s. Short hair, clean-shaven, aviator sunglasses, skinny tie, and, dressed like a typical man from the Mad Men era.
Well, that seems to be the case that's happening again. There's a guy. I don't know why it took him this long to figure this out, but apparently in 1969, there's a family by the name of Lesby, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's name was Dick Lesby. Apparently, he was a grocer.
That's incredible.
Of some sort, and he just disappeared one day. He just disappeared. His family had no idea what happened to him. He was just like, boom, gone from the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of him next to the drawing of DB Cooper, and he looks pretty close to the drawing.
It's definitely viable.
The glasses that he's wearing even look like the same type of sunglasses, the same shape of rims, and all that stuff. Apparently, there was a couple other facts. Oh, he liked to wear the same type of tie and shirt combo that DB was wearing the night of the hijacking.
Yeah.
And so these people are thinking, well, I guess this could explain why he disappeared at that time, and it was like right around the same time. So
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's somebody. I mean, it's what we always hear these stories. It's moronic to say that, of course, but it is somebody. It is one of these people's missing dad, missing brother, missing son stories. They're fucking DB Cooper. Go ahead, Lau.
I was going to say the weird part about it is he was a grocery store manager. And to be coming just missing all of a sudden, it's kind of really odd, in the sense of, your daily job. You're going to come home, you would think, it's not a guy that just went out to get milk, but he just disappeared, so who knows?
Not a terribly high-paying job, I'm guessing, managing a grocery store. Might
and
need
if
some
you
extra funds.
If you came across Sasquatch way in the woods that we thought, he wasn't
I'm going to get my cock ready and wait for this guy to crash land. Go back and listen to our DB Cooper episode, ladies and gentlemen. We reposted it fairly recently, like a year or so ago, with both episodes. We used to do like 20, 30-minute episodes. We stitched the 1 and 2 together. But go back and listen to that. It's, to this day, the episode that I usually steer people toward if they're brand new to us. I think it's one of our best and covers everything that we do here on the show. So I guess ultimately this is just yet another suspect. There's nothing really making this guy stand out above the other heads necessarily, from what you saw in the story, John Mark?
Well, apparently they have some type of DNA evidence that they're testing, but there wasn't anything that I saw that had been actually done yet, or was like any results from that.
Yeah. It's been so long since we've done the D.B. Cooper episode. Was it the whiskey glass that they had DNA on?
This was something different, I think, because there was another person that they were doing a year or two back that they were doing some DNA testing on, and it came back not that person. So,
well, I mean, where did we get the D.B. Cooper DNA?
I don't remember.
This
article didn't. I don't think it really went into it, but
because he, remember the famous story? He sat there in the back like fucking Don Draper, sipping his whiskey, smoking his cigarette, slapping the stewardess on the asses politely. It was the '60s. It wasn't frowned upon back then.
It was the '60s.
So, give me another scotch, Toots. And then he just jumped out of the fucking airplane over the stormy Pacific Northwest night sky. What a fucking... No wonder the story just lives on, It's like it captures the image. And sure, of course, it's silly that he thought that in 1968 or whenever this was, it probably did seem like $250,000 was going to be enough to live off forever. Of course, now that would get you a decent house, but it's funny. I love everything about that fucking story. And even the stewardesses didn't complain about him. I think they thought he was kind of dangerous in that sexy way.
Had this swagger. I always enjoy the part about the kid that found the part of the money. They found rotted like $20 bills that had the matching numbers, so they knew
it was 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt D.B. Cooper money. Yeah.
That's all they found, though. None of the rest of it's ever turned up. It's just that
there have been parachutes found, but remember we talked about that. It didn't seem to be the right parachute. So there's somebody else fucking parachuted and got snagglepussed up in the trees in the middle of that same area. The fuck are the odds of that? I'm going to get on to tonight's soup du jour because we got a guest joining us for News Quiz, and we're running a little late. I wanted to talk about some films and cartoons that have been banned for one reason or another. I think this is an interesting topic, and we will do another show in the future on banned books. I think you can learn a lot about humanity and specific societies and cultures by what those cultures have forbidden and the reasons that they are forbidden. So, some of these on the list are no mystery, as you will soon see, but others have some pretty specific methodology behind their being banned. And it's not just a censorship issue to me, it's historically important. And seeing where we have freaked out over silly things at times, and at other times just simply regretted what we were up to in the past. First, let's look at some of the feature films that have been banned at one point or another. Up first is the Battleship Potemkin. This is a beautiful fucking film. I'm a huge fan of Sergei Eisenstein. He's often called the father of the montage. He seems to be the first one to really do that, at least in the artistic, music overlay, that dreamy sort of sequence. Like everyone behind the Iron Curtain was owned, essentially, by the communist state. So almost everything he did, probably everything he did, was easily classified as Russian and communistic propaganda. Alexander Nevsky, Ivan the Terrible, which is my favorite of his films, and of course the Battleship Potemkin, all Russian and communist propaganda that also just happened to be really amazing and innovative films. Potemkin especially was seen as blatant sympathy to the commies and was banned in France, Germany, Finland, South Korea, Spain, and Ireland for many years. The film is based upon the 1905 mutiny of the crew of the ship Potemkin against the Tsarist regime. I highly recommend seeing this film, if only to witness a scene that is still pretty shocking. It's a sequence known as the Odessa Steps. That's all I'm going to say about it because I want you to experience that scene organically. Those fucking movies, man. Next, All Quiet on the Western Front, an American World War II drama, or World War I drama from 1930 based on the book of the same name, was banned in Germany as well as France and Italy during the Nazi occupation. And the film was none too kind on its portrayal of Germans in World War I. And even before the Nazis came into power, I guess they held these little organized mini campaigns of letting off stink bombs in the theaters and releasing disease-infested mice and rats into the audience when the picture was playing. They were just like, the Nazis were up to everything. They didn't leave anything alone. They're like, yeah, let's do it all. Let's, torture the Jews, but let's also try to teach dogs how to speak, and let's release mice into the theaters where they're playing movies we disagree with. They had everything covered. Of course,
they didn't use air horns.
No,
not everything, motherfucker.
Damn Westerners.
Of course, black cats.
When Hitler took over, he had it banned outright. Next up, Evil Dead. This is where it all began. Now, if you've watched Army of Darkness or even Evil Dead 2 before seeing the first one, like many people have, it may be pretty jarring because the slick and silly vibe of the latter films was almost absent in that first one. I mean, you could definitely see hints of what was to come, but to me...
Especially later on.
Well, Evil Dead 2 is just one of the greatest horror comedies of all time. Army of Darkness is great too, but to me, that always felt more like an Indiana Jones movie with violence in it. You know what I mean? It's less of a horror movie to me than Evil Dead 2, but the original Evil Dead was fighting being tagged with an X rating. It was so shocking. Now, there is no hardcore sex in the film, for anyone who's not seen it. There is, however, an unforgettable rape scene involving some possessed tree limbs.
Right.
Do you guys remember? I can't remember. Did they redo that in the remake? It seems like they did.
It's they
you
kept
mean in the recent remake?
Yeah, not Evil Dead 2, because Evil Dead 2 was sort of a remake of Evil Dead 1.
It totally was, yeah.
But the new Evil Dead that came out a few years ago that we all went to see together, except Chris.
I think it was. I think it was kind of in there, yeah.
It wasn't as gratuitous as
it was pretty fucking shocking in the original one. It's hard to believe that they were that ballsy back then. I mean, this came out in 1980 or 1981, the original one. Tree rape. Literally because of that one scene, it was banned in Singapore, Finland, UK, Germany, Iceland, and Ireland. But it was especially reviled in England, where they referred to these extreme horror films as video nasties. The government actually put it on top of their nasty list and said it was filth to be avoided at all costs. If you were going to be a good citizen of England, you should avoid this film. Naturally, this anti-endorsement sent everyone into a frenzy to go see the film, and it became one of the most lucrative indie films of all time. And, they eventually won their R rating, too. They didn't have to settle for that X rating and only screen it in some of the shadier theaters. But the next one, I hate to say, I have actually watched parts of. It's a newer one on the list, and I've always been fascinated with controversial films. That's what got me into Takashi Miike and a lot of the Japanese horror stuff. And sometimes the penalty for that curiosity is being left with images you can't scrape off your brain.
You can't unsee.
As was the case for a Serbian film. Now, watch this at your own risk, motherfuckers. In fact, don't watch it. Brazil, New Zealand, Norway, Spain, Finland, to this day, it seems, or some of those, have yet to lift that ban. Again, this is a 2010 movie. It's a new movie. 2 words, folks. Baby rape.
Oh, my God.
Ready to see that? So, the movie is about an ex-porn star looking to move his family out of the shithole that is Serbia, but he needs money to do it, so he takes one last porn job that promises to pay, crazy good money. Unfortunately, this porn requires not only baby rape, but sexual and physical abuse of children, adult rape, sodomy, incest, real murder, suicide, and necrophilia, just to name a few.
What the fuck?
So again, not so shocking that this one made the list. I didn't get all the way through the movie for obvious reasons. It's like, I read a little bit about it, and it's like, I gotta see a movie this fucked up. It made no mention. The previews I was reading made no mention of baby rape. And, it's sort of like, it gets so ridiculous in the movie that it's almost laughable and cartoony. But it's still
look at that baby.
It's still baby rape. Anyway, moving on. Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange was banned in Ireland, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Spain, South Korea, as was the book it was based on. It was said to inspire rape and, torture and violence, as well as other generalized hooliganing. It's such a bizarre and great film, too. It still does leave you, though, with that sort of strange, unsettled, dirty feeling, especially some of the rape stuff, because it's done in that weird, cartoony, goofy, silly way that's so fucking twisted.
I've never seen A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, I love it. I definitely recommend it.
What?
It's amazing.
That should be with some,
it's from the 60s, I think, early 70s, late 60s. It's still a pretty shocking movie.
Oh, that's good.
And it is really interesting. It's funny because that movie, which again is based on a book, it resonates more now than it must have ever resonated because it's just like, it's so, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it for anyone that hasn't seen it. And if you have seen it, there's nothing that I could say that you already haven't heard, but oh, yeah, for the love of God, watch. That's one on this list. I highly recommend. Although I do say, I think that I feel that Eyes Wide Shut is my favorite Kubrick film. Huh. And that's saying a lot. I mean, we got 2001 Space Odyssey. We got The Shining. We've got, oh, fucking hell. Not Hamburger Hill. Full Metal Jacket.
You can't just pick it. You can't pick it. You just have to say that you love all his films. It's just like, it's okay.
I can say that it's probably a tie between 2001 and Eyes Wide Shut in terms of how many times I've actually seen the movie.
Don't forget Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, God. See, it's hard. It's amazing. That motherfucker. But I mean, Eyes Wide Shut has it all. It's got cults, sex orgies, creepy underworld doings, bizarre fucking rituals, and it's slow and creepy and beautiful. It's got it all. I told you guys that I ended up at a party once, right here in good old Wenatchee. It was early on the Spacepod. I talked about this. Exactly like the parties in Eyes Wide Shut. I mean, minus the cult stuff. But the sex stuff was exactly like that. You walk in, and there are people fucking everywhere.
Wow.
Have you guys ever been to a party like that?
I can't say I have.
You will never forget the sound
I was
or the smell.
Oh, God.
Go ahead, Lau.
No, I think I talked about it, too. I was invited to it. There's a club that's like that you pay, like, annually dues, and you go to this, like, giant mansion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you pay your annually dues, too.
Oh, it's exactly like what shot. It's go there from dress with a suit.
Yeah.
It's formal dining, and then what goes upstairs is completely different. But
now everything sounds sexual, doesn't it?
Well,
door shut. What goes upstairs is different. Well, I didn't pay a cent to get in this party, and I've been to a few. I've been invited to a couple of these things. This was car salesman that invited me to this party.
What?
Yeah. No, he didn't tell me what it was. I was going through a weird period. In my ex-life, and I was looking for something crazy. He said, and I was looking for new people. I was looking to meet new people because my old world was just falling apart. It's time to shift gears. And so this dude that I didn't even really like at all, he loved me. I thought he was a creep. But I was curious what kind of people this guy parties with. And
found out.
And holy shit, we get there and it's a full-on fucking sex swinger party, and you just walk up and, take your clothes off and stick it in. I didn't see anybody saying anything ceremoniously. I didn't see anybody asking. I saw a lot of people, all right, I'm going to walk over here now.
Wow.
Yeah, right in front of me eyes. Amazing. Amazing experience. It was an interesting night.
Did you partake?
No, it wasn't my scene. Speaking of bizarre sex, Last Tango in Paris. 2 words, folks. Butter anal.
I've never seen it.
This is a scene with none other than Marlon Brando, motherfuckers. Banned in the UK, Chile, South Korea, Portugal, Australia, Italy, Canada, Singapore. Brando plays an aging widower that has a fling with a young girl played by Maria Schneider. Now, Brando, interestingly, later claimed that director Bernardo Bertolucci abused them and took advantage of them. I don't know what he meant by that, but it's kind of hard to imagine him not knowing what he was getting himself into. Literally in the case of the famous butter scene. Now, the two are making out in the kitchen, and Marlon throws her down to the ground, pulls down her pants, and, her ass pops out like a ripe peach, and he shoves a stick of fucking butter up her poop chute to lube her up, and then just comes right on in.
Wow.
And the little anal sex scene. With butter. You will not soon forget this scene, folks. I wonder how many people are now writing down their Netflix
shopping list. Oh, wait.
Have you seen it? Is it that? Is
yes.
It very graphic?
It's not super graphic, but, it was from the 80s, and you see Marlon Brando behind her. Like, picture, you're seeing the front of their faces, and
it's more about the implication of the time that shocked people, right?
Well, you see him grab the butter dish, and like shove his fingers in it, and you see him clearly hold it up like, here's the
this is what's happening.
About to go in your butt, and then he just sticks it right up her fucking poop chute. I mean, there's no you know exactly what's going on, so it's pretty graphic that way. But mostly just like, did he just fucking shove Dairy Gold up her poop chute? Fascinating stuff.
That brings a whole new version to a Butterface. She's all hot Butterface.
I've never heard Butterface. Next up, I kind of hinted toward this earlier. Monty Python's The Life of Brian was at one point banned, believe it or not, by almost the entire continent of Europe as being a blasphemous little flick. As John Mark said, it's funny the things that people actually... There's a lot of things that you could see religious people being upset about. The Life of fucking Brian, it's insane. But, I mean, it's such a wacky comedy... to think that would actually threaten their religious beliefs or anybody. I mean, the Vatican themselves was denouncing this fucking film, railing against it. And to this day, it's actually one of the most controversial on the list, if you can believe it. That's especially insane when you consider that the movie isn't really even about Christ. It's about this dude named Brian, another Jew who was born on the same day as Christ, mistaken for the Messiah, and you follow his wacky life. Everyone thinks he's Christ. Christ does actually appear in the movie for a little bit, but they actually treat him with a lot of respect. You know, they don't mock him. So it's just retarded that anyone got up in arms on it. My favorite scene in that movie is when dude falls from outer space, lands in the sand, stands up, dusts himself off, and walks off. There's another guy that saw the whole thing. He's just like, "You lucky bastard." I don't know why. I fucking howled at that when I was like 14. I was like, that is the funniest fucking shit. He just saw a dude fall from space, get up, dust himself off, and walk off. That was all he said. "You lucky bastard." You should be dead now. Good stuff. I Spit on Your Grave. Oh, boy, that's a rough movie. That was banned just about everywhere but the U.S. It's funny how none of these movies really banned here.
I don't know this movie.
Oh boy, they remade this a while back, and I didn't see the remake, but this is another rape revenge story. This is pretty fucking hard to get through. I mean, the revenge stuff is great, but the rape and torture stuff goes on and on and on. It's the story is a young, pretty woman goes to a remote house in the country to get away from the big city, and she just wants to, she's on vacation. She wants to lay in a hammock in the sun and nude sunbathe and read her books and pet the cat. And a group of 4 hillbillies come boating past her, and they're just fucking with her a little bit, and she has to cover up, and it's like, oh, great. Then they come back later that night, and they rape her. And the scenes go on for what feels like an hour of them raping her and torturing her, and then they finally make the younger retard kid go back in the house and kill her. Well, he doesn't have the balls to kill her, so he just pretends to kill her, gets back in the boat. They go sailing off into the night thinking that bitch is dead now. Well, she wasn't dead, and she then goes to hunt them down and kills them brutally. So the last 20 minutes is great, but you got to get through some rough fucking stuff before you can enjoy that. But tough film to watch, but I love the overall. I'd love a good rape revenge. How could you not? Seeing the ultimate wrong being done to a person and then seeing that person get revenge is always going to be satisfying, but holy shit, you got to get through some rough stuff before then, son.
Did you guys ever see Last House on the Left? I think that was the one.
That's another rape. Another rape. And I never saw the remake of that one either, but the original one, yes. Saw the original one. Now, that's a remake, believe it or not, of a Bergman film. Ingmar Bergman film.
Oh.
Did I get them right? Yeah, Ingmar Bergman. That's right, isn't it, John Mark? That name sounds weird.
Ingmar Bergman, yeah.
Sounds weird coming out of my mouth. But called The Virgin Spring. Now, the story of that is these guys rape and kill a young lady, and then I can't remember the exact story, but they break down their car, or they're out somewhere, and they need help, or they need a place to stay, so they come to this house where they don't know, but it's the girl that they killed and raped. It's her father.
Yeah,
does that sound like the right setup? And so he is the one who takes revenge ultimately, and yeah, really, I've heard that the remake of that one is pretty rough too.
It is, yeah.
Speaking of rough, Cannibal Holocaust is another movie that was banned pretty much everywhere but here. And this is the most disturbing, to this day, the most disturbing movie I've ever seen.
Really?
It's sort of, I think it might be one of the first found footage films, to use that trope, at least in that way. But it's just these 3 or 4 people walking in the jungle looking for what happened to these missing people who shot the footage they found. And along the way, they kill and in some cases needlessly torture every little animal they happen upon. Now, the cannibal and murder and dildo murder scene are all great, but the animal stuff is all real, so it's not pleasant. I mean, they'll just pick up like a muskrat. Well, I don't even want to get into it because it'd be disturbing to even hear it, and it sticks with me to this day. So yeah, no details, but the director, Deodato, I think is his name, he was actually arrested for killing all the people in the movie.
Good.
Well, again, for killing all the people in the movie.
Which never happened.
It would never happen. The animal stuff was real. The people stuff, of course, wasn't real. But he had to bring all the actors into court to prove that he didn't actually kill them. It's a true story. Now,
not bring the animals, asshole.
Yeah, right. Cannibal Ferox, another film that he did, supposedly is the most widely banned film of all time, sitting at well over 30 countries to this day. So, pretty interesting. But, yeah, that director actually said that he regretted killing all the animals later on. They're actually remaking that movie, and I might watch the remake. There's no question. A lot of those old Italian, what are they called? Giallo. The Giallo horror movies, they were set
Video
out...
nasties?
Yeah, the video nasties. They set out to shock people, and they fucking did it any way they could. And so there's no question that what you were seeing is a shocking piece of cinema. It's undeniable as a piece of art. It's just, it made me angry because I didn't want to see, cute little animals being needlessly tortured. And they were just like playing with, anyway, I keep wanting to share my horrors. I won't. Don't watch that movie unless you really want to see fucked up shit and you hate animals. Believe it or not, South Park, the movie, was banned in a lot of countries too. I think it might be the second most banned movie on this list. I don't know if this is a concise list that I found. I was searching a few different sites, but to name a few: Burma, Cambodia, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, for obvious reasons. Saddam Hussein is fucking the devil up the ass. Kuwait, Lebanon, Morocco, Pakistan, Philippines, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vatican City, Vietnam, to name a few. So well done, boys. Pretty impressive. We're getting long in the tooth. I want to get through some of these cartoons, though. I want to start off with the Warner Brothers.
I just want to ask you, is Necromantic on that list?
I didn't come across it, no.
Huh, have you seen that?
No, do tell.
Well, it's a German film, and it's basically about this guy and this girl who they sort of take their kink into this whole weird necrophilia place, and it's very, very graphic. And I'm surprised that it wouldn't be on a list of banned movies that you're talking about like that.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm sure I had to hop around because some of them just weren't that interesting in terms of why they were banned. It was just like geopolitical bullshit. Like with Battleship Potemkin, but I wanted to mention that one because I believe all of Eisenstein's films should be seen. They're fucking amazing. Anywho, so first up from the cartoon pile, Warner Brothers has covered a lot here on this list, but they did a spoof on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in a little gem called Coal Black and the Seven Dwarfs. Now, Bob Clampett made this film with a lot of real jazz players at the time. All the black people are portrayed in that old-timey Sambo, cartoony style. That alone makes it a racist marvel to look at now. But what's interesting about this one is Clampett was actually a huge jazz fan. And he was actually pals with a lot of the black musicians that are featured in the cartoon. They were voicing themselves in a lot of cases, and it was definitely their music. So this is sort of a strange mixing of ahead of its time race mingling with, typical stereotypes of the day. I thought that was fascinating, that even when people were reaching out to the races, like even Al Jolson in a lot of times was not necessarily mocking the black people, but of course he was in blackface, and it was in terrible... I don't know what started the fucking blackface thing, I mean, I guess I get to some degree, you're not going to hire black people to portray black people in your early film or plays or, on a stage musical. But the whole big lip painting the white inner tube ring around the lips and that whole caricature, how that just stuck. Really baffling where that started and why they didn't. Because, again, even later on when people like Bob Clampett were reaching out to black people and saying, these guys are all right. They're talented. I'm becoming friends with them. Let's do a cartoon. They still had to do it in that old-timey racist way. It was interesting. But later on, of course, Warner Brothers pulled these from its collections from there on out. Another Warner Brother embarrassment, Bugs Bunny nips the nips. Now, this word has sort of gone away. A lot of people don't even realize that nip is an old racial slur for the Japanese people. But typical World War II era propaganda coming from America. We did the same thing. We were portraying the Japanese in that awful, very funny, you buff bunny. That buck tooth. Fuck it. We would literally paint them yellow, ladies and gentlemen. Usually fat for some reason, even though the Japanese were not known to be terribly fat. Maybe they're tied in the sumo wrestling thing. I don't know. But again, pulled from future airings of release. But these were not meant for children, remember. Cartoons originally were never meant for kids. These were actually meant to, again, spread propaganda, but also, they always had like those pinup girls in between, which always baffled me as a kid. I never really understood that. Why they were just out of nowhere. There'd be this sexy lady with big tits, even if it had a dog face, like drooping on the face. That was for the boys. They would send these film cans over for the boys and to, refreshing morale, give them something to spank to later on that night. Fucking weird to think about. The Pokemon episode, I think we talked about this before. The Electric Soldier Porygon was banned for a very different reason. It was making kids have seizures. Remember that? So many flashing colors in that episode. It actually made...
I do remember that.
Over 12,000 kids were ill, and half of them had to go to the hospital. That's fucking impressive. I think that's got to be what South Park was lampooning when they did that Let's Fighting Love. That shit where you had to buy the dolls, but the dolls on the cartoon were sending out like secret messages. Remember that episode?
So good.
I do.
Oh, it's classic. The Mr. Skinny Legs episode of an Australian cartoon called Peppa Pig was pulled for a pretty funny reason, actually. I guess in the show there was a little spider that everyone was afraid of, but the spider turned out to actually be quite friendly, and the ultimate moral of the story was essentially that we shouldn't be afraid of little spiders, which is well and fine, except Australia is home to some of the most deadly spiders on the planet, so it turned out to not be such a golden idea to tell kids to make pals with the spider that comes crawling by. And people were getting fucking bit by serious deadly arachnids.
Oh, no.
Whoops. The next one is fucking hilarious and probably my favorite on the list. There was a Dudley Do-Right episode that was poking fun at Smokey the Bear with their own version. This was a pyromaniac bear who went around starting forest fire.
Oh, my God. I love it.
The best part is his name, Stokey the Bear.
Yes.
Stokey the Bear going around setting every fucking thing inside to blaze. Fucking hilarious. All banned. Many cartoons haven't been outright banned, but a lot of offensive scenes cut out. Like a lot of Tom and Jerry stuff has been watered down violence-wise. I mean, they used to flat out shoot each other in the fucking head with guns. That's all been snipped out of the the rebroadcast. There again, a lot of the sexy pinup stuff that was put in there for the World War II boys. Also cut out is every time that Tom gets his face blown the fuck up. Remember that shit? He would always turn into a black face guy and start saying racial stereotypes.
What? No,
you don't remember that shit? Like Tom would stick his head in a cannon or something, and Jerry would pull the cord. When as the smoke cleared, Tom would be a black man, like in blackface, and he'd be like, "Oh, ma'am, I hasn't seen no cat around here." Just fucking
no.
For no fucking reason, just throw in like a blackface racial joke. Those episodes still exist, and they're in rotation. They just cut those scenes out now. It was just cut after the explosion, Maybe they've even cut the violence at this point.
The plot holes that would leave. Oh.
You need that racism there. Mm-hmm. Tie it all together. I remember a lot of the Ching Chong Ming Mong stuff that wasn't taken out until the late 80s and early 90s. And some of this stuff was in there a long time. I mean, pretty fucking offensive shit where we just... especially the Asians. I think they were the last ones that people actually started saying, maybe we shouldn't poke fun at these guys for no fucking reason. And World War II was some time ago. Maybe we should stop portraying them as yellow-skinned, buck-toothed. Oh, me so funny, Mr. Blackman. We did that for like decades. We did that. Fucking unbelievable. Now, another one of my favorite band cartoons from yesteryear is actually a commercial. This is from the Flintstones, and I'll just end my list here by playing this little ditty. Give a listen here. It's kind of hard to imagine this nowadays, but back in the days when this cartoon aired, keep in mind, this was the era of Mad Men.
15% of one car insurance.
Geico. Fucking how much money does Geico make that they can afford? Seriously, 1 out of every 3 commercials is fucking Geico. Isn't that scary?
Why?
I don't know, but pay attention. Now that I've pointed out, if you haven't already noticed,
Who the fuck has Geico for insurance? Raise your hand. Nobody. How's that company in existence?
Well, that's insurance companies for you. They don't pay anything. That's how they can get by. I'm dealing with that right fucking now. All right, so let me skip ahead here to my favorite part of this. All right, give a little listen to this classic Flintstones commercial of the 60s.
They sure work hard, don't they, Bonnie? Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard.
They're looking at Wilma and Betty.
Let's go around back where we can't see them.
Good joke.
Oh, my God.
Fred? Okay. How's about taking a nap? Hey, I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break.
Pulls out a pack of cigs.
The one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend. Yeah, Fred.
And there goes Wilma mowing the lawn.
The blend makes the big taste difference, and only Winston has it. Front where it counts. Here, ahead of the pure white filter. Winston packs rich tobaccos specially selected and specially processed for good flavor and filter smoking. Yeah, Bonnie.
Damn it, that makes me want to smoke.
Good, like cigarette. Sure.
So there you have it. Banned, of course, for obvious reasons. Can you imagine seeing fucking
Wow,
SpongeBob
that's crazy.
SquarePants hucking cigarettes? Now, again, it sounds ridiculous at the time, but going back to the past, cartoons weren't made for children. You know, these things were essentially... Originally, they put these things ahead of the main feature when you went to see a movie at the theater. They were animated shorts for adults. So it makes more sense why Fred and Barney would be pushing cigs to the masses. Let's get on to this week's Best of Facebook, Chris, and then we'll get on to some news quiz, and we'll get one of our listeners on here to play for the prize. What do you got for us this week?
Sounds good. Okay, so I put up that photo of that moa claw. Is that what that was called? That beast?
Yeah, the upland moa.
Upland moa, and the caption I put was, "I wonder what direction it wipes with." What direction? Wow, I'm already struggling. This is going to be fun. I didn't get dinner, so whoops.
I had that problem a couple weeks back.
Adriana Sylvier says, "Probably back to front like the rest of the monsters out there." Which I thought was pretty funny. Fuck you, but that was funny.
God bless. God bless.
Gary Williams said, "Probably any direction it wanted," which that was kind of cute. Let's see. We put up Lyle's picture, the green light in the sky, the black hole,
The wormhole.
The green hole, the wormhole.
Geriatric says, "Ask us from the back to fronters." That was a reoccurring theme in the comments. Jeff
I love
Hall.
that this is never going to die.
Yeah, probably
People are
not.
passionate about it either way, and I like that they're passionate either way. You know, this is a democracy. You can wipe how you want, folks. I'm still going to shame you.
Jeff Hall says, "Obviously a rave going on, smoke and glow sticks being thrown around, some lame music, electronic, not metal music."
It could be a glow stick someone tossed up.
When we put that photo, I put the photo up of the Hasbro cat you could own for the elderly, the one with the dead eyes.
Yeah.
And Dustin Snyder wrote, "Wait, Pouro is real. Aziz is breaking news stories." Now, somebody else told me this. Apparently in the Aziz show on Netflix, The Master of None,
Yeah.
they parody this. Do you know this already?
The robot cat?
Yeah, it's a big thing in that show that, I don't know, it's somebody's idea for a
Have any of you watched that show at all?
I watched a little bit of it. It's really interesting. I think it's pretty good, but I haven't watched too much of it. It's different than what I expected, though. It's got a kooky vibe.
Yeah, it is. It does have a kooky vibe, but apparently that's in the show, so that was funny.
Yeah, interesting.
Tabitha Evans posted on our walls, on one of the episode posts, and she says, "I keep forgetting to comment on this episode, but one answer correct, Ron. What the fuck, bruh?"
Yeah, that might have been the night that I skipped dinner. I was drunk.
You represented.
Yeah, letting family down.
Yep. Okay, and then we get to Katie Sergeev, actually, I reached out to one Brad Harris to find out the proper way to say her last name, and apparently it's pronounced Katie Durka.
Oh, perfect. Oh,
so
God.
Katie Durka says, "I've been debating doing this since I bought my house." This was on the post about you can search and see if anyone has died in your home.
Yeah.
She follows it up with, "Okay, I searched the record of my house, also my parents and sisters, but their results were boring, and now I have a mystery to solve. There was a woman who lived in my house from 1998 until she died in 2009, when the house was sold by her estate. I can't find any info about what the cause of death was, and they can't verify if she died in the house because Washington State doesn't apparently require sellers to disclose it. She was only 49 years old."
Interesting. Oh, boy, that is a mystery. You can, I bet in this day and age, that shouldn't be too tough to crack, so keep us posted on that.
Yeah. I want to hear a follow-up.
Miss Durka.
Miss Durka.
Sorry, Mrs.
That's it.
All right, well, let's get our guest on here for news quiz. Let's see. This is Jesse. We're getting Jesse on the show. Now, he has been listening pretty much since the beginning, I believe. We'll confirm that when he gets on. Jesse, you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, greetings and welcome from the space pod. Well, welcome from the drunk pod. Now, first off, where are you calling from?
Everett.
Oh, you're not that far away from us. For some reason, I thought you were east of the Rockies. So you've been listening to us for quite a while now. I think you were one of the first people to actually email us some feedback. And
probably. It
was pretty exciting as a new podcast to get feedback at all from people that we didn't know. It's still exciting to get emails from our listeners, but, you never forget your first fan letter. So welcome. Now, is it true that you actually got Wound Effigy into the show?
Yes, it is.
Well, we have to thank you for that because she's now doing a lot of our work for us for absolutely zero pay. But anywho,
she's
welcome.
Pretty delightful, yeah.
Welcome to the show.
We actually have a little collection of prizes we've started with some of the books and other miscellaneous items. So if you are chosen as a winner, write in and we'll give you a collection. It's going to be something like a Radar Stage Funko Pop doll. We'll put a little wheel together maybe. So
nice.
We'll make it fun.
A little surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
A used tube sock from last night. No big deal. Whatever I got laying around the house, basically.
A used tube sock, huh?
I got some wheat thins here.
In some markets, a used tube sock is worth much more than a new one.
All right, Ron, you get to go first tonight since you
about time. I have been not going first in so long.
You had the gaff of the week, so now you have to go first. You're playing for Gary Williams, who left us one of the comments on our Facebook page.
Okay.
John Mark, you're going second. You're playing for Jeff Hall. John Mark?
Bluey?
All right. Lyle, you'll be third.
I thought I heard a blues.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
Lyle, you'll be third, and you'll be playing for Danielle Rumpf. What a great last name, right?
Some new names on the Facebook page.
I apologize. I was preparing my notes when... What's your name, good sir?
Jesse. Our guest is Jesse.
Sorry about that, man. Jesse, you'll be playing for yourself. Represent.
Awesome.
Okay. Question 1. Ever had a hankering to name something unwanted after someone you hate? You ever have one of those, like, I kind of want to name this after something I don't like?
Sure.
Maybe like an ex-girlfriend or something?
I've got a Christopher growing off my butthole as we speak.
I know. I've seen you put pictures up. Thank you.
Apparently, the word hemorrhoid has been around for a while.
Who knew?
I call it a Chrissy. Chrissy poo.
Well, for $10, you can do just that right now. What can you name for $10? Now, this is an official naming procedure protocol.
Very, very official. Okay.
Is it A, any hurricane that will fall between 1 to 2 on the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, which is the official measurement of hurricanes out here?
Oh, my God. We could pitch in and have a Hurricane Carl.
Or Kyle.
Wow, Hurricane Carl sounds like a sexual move involving species.
Oh, shit.
You had a Hurricane Carl?
Oh, well. I wins. B, a baby...
I wins. Low wins. Yeah.
B.
I don't know about anybody else, but Chris and I are having a good time.
Yeah, no shit.
I think we shifted into second gear. It really does make a difference when you don't eat dinner before the podcast. But go ahead.
B, a baby cockroach at the Bronx Zoo.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
Or C, a fake STD that comes with its own set of trading cards.
Boy, good answers all.
Ronster, start us off.
First, I don't think the hurricane thing would be allowed. I would love that, though, but I'm going to go with the cockroach.
Okay, going with the cockroaches.
Mm-hmm.
John Mark.
Go with the trading cards.
Going with the STD trading cards.
Great trading cards. Long overdue.
Lyle?
I think I'm going to go with the hurricane. You know, because you could buy stars for like $100 or something like that. I think somebody.
I did that for a girl once. Stupid.
Yeah, we made fun of you for that.
Fuck off.
Do me a favor. Go outside and point to it, would you?
I'm pointing my middle finger at it right now, Ron.
So stupidest $50 ever spent. Should have paid $50 for a Hurricane Carl instead.
Didn't even get me laid. Anyways.
Oh, really?
No.
What?
That's horrible.
Oh, that is such a sad story.
No.
Should have paid for Uranus.
Right? Oh, for fuck's sake. Lyle, what did you go with?
A hurricane.
Hurricane, perfect. Jesse.
Yeah. Well, I want it to be C. I would pay for C, but I think I'm gonna have to go with B, cockroach.
Yeah.
Baby cop.
Yeah.
Right.
I would prefer the hurricane. If I could have my druthers, I would love to name something. I mean, listen, this isn't going to be a hurricane that wipes out all of Florida, but
a low-class hurricane.
A couple people might die. You can name that after someone you hate. That'd be fucking badass. Oh. Go ahead.
Question 2. Pornhub released a fascinating infographic showing each state's most popular search terms for porn.
Oh.
Here in Washington State, what was the most searched porn term?
Fascinating.
Is it A, Asian?
Okay.
Is it B, MILF?
Gotcha.
Or is it C, POV?
All I ever search is Asian MILF POV porn. So, and I do it a lot, so I may be tipping the scales here.
Ronster?
Oh, boy. A lot of Asians in Washington State. A lot of MILFs everywhere. I guess that's not the right way to reason it. It's like, what do people want? God, a complete fucking guess. I'm going to go with Asian.
You're going to go with Asian?
Yeah.
Okay, Ron, we'll learn something about you. Okay.
I used to have an Asian thing. I kind of grew out of it.
Okay. John Mark?
So Asian.
I'll go with option B.
MILF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems right for Wenatchee. I don't know about on the other side of the mountains.
I don't know. I kind of want to go with MILF, but I think I want to go with POV. That's
This is sounds like a standard Tuesday night for you. I don't know which one I want to go with.
Let's see.
All right.
I'll go see.
You're going to go POV. Okay. Jesse?
I think I'm gonna go with A.
Asian. Okay. Question 3. Some, quote, athletes, unquote, in Delta, Alabama recently got together for their yearly unorthodox race that proves the spirit of white trash is still alive and well. In their version of this extreme race, grown men will ride these down muddy hills and embankments in hopes of taking home the gold. What do they write?
I love these weird small town competitions.
Oh, this is the one I got lost in the video. Rah-roh. A. Do they ride A, their neighbors' wives?
Oh. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, but riding it downhill? A-okay.
Is it B, modified and reinforced Barbie Jeeps?
Oh, I think I've done that.
All right.
Yeah.
I believe that. Or is it C, soapbox derby cars made solely out of tampons and or maxi pads?
Yeah. Yeah, I have seen things like C for sure, but I have actually been in a modified Barbie car, and it is fucking unbelievably fun. And unbelievably dangerous. You can roll them things like you wouldn't imagine. I'm going to go with B. Solid B.
Solid B. Jamag?
I've seen stuff like this before on the interwebs, so I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, I've seen representations of all of these.
Yeah. It sounds really douchey, but I'm going to go with C.
Jesse?
I think I'm going to go with B.
Barbie Jeeps, you're going with the monster.
Well, at least with C, there'd be some shock absorbency.
Right.
Oh.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I named a star for a
absorbency.
Well, if you think about it, you got
And didn't get your dick sucked.
I didn't get any, nothing but blue balls.
Okay, what did you say? Like, oh, neat.
I don't even remember. I was 19 maybe. Oh, it was
honey.
so bad. Oh,
I'd
sweetie.
go back. I wouldn't give you a head, but I'd give you a hug and say, you dumb motherfucker. The pastor's daughter? Actually, I bet there's a lot of pastor's daughters that are freaky. Don't you think? I mean, that's the ultimate rebellion, is to be like a fucking sex fiend.
I guess.
All right, well, crickets, we can move on.
I'm like,
Think about it. It seems like, anyway.
I'm going to the
Maybe it's easier for me because I grew up in the church and I just.
I go to the
imagine
orchard and Scrog or what?
Oh, that girl was far from a pastor's daughter.
All right, question 4. Video game makers Namco, they're partnering up with this company to create a bar and restaurant in Tokyo that will have elements of both companies. What is the company Namco is partnering with? Is it A, Apple?
Okay.
Is it B, Hooters?
Oh, yeah. I could see a couple Pac-Mans serving me buffalo wings.
Or is it C, AMC, the creators of The Walking Dead?
Huh. Where is this?
Tokyo.
Tokyo? Yeah. All right. God. Complete guess. I'm going to go with Hooters.
You're going with the tits, when in doubt.
Yeah, well, it's Japan.
Yeah.
LOL Japan.
LOL Japan.
I'm going with C. Yeah, I gotta find some soon.
Gotta find some.
So what, Japan?
Some LOL Japan stories.
Wild
yeah.
Japan.
Oh, gotcha.
Lyle?
Namco? Who was it? Capcom.
Namco.
Darn. I was going to put something together, but I'm just going to go see.
What were we going to put together?
Zombies. Capco did a lot of Resident Evil stuff. Zombies.
Capcom, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just blended
You combined them.
Capcom. Capcom.
You did it well, though.
I was trying because
Capcom.
Walking Dead zombies. You know what?
So you're going C.
Umbrella's real.
Jesse?
Yeah.
I'm going with B, Hooters, because the Namco Hooters combination just sounds like a saucy version of the AFK Tavern.
It does, doesn't it?
Wait. What's that?
AFK Tavern? You don't know what that is? They have
It's
one in
this
Everett.
nerd bar out in Everett. They've got all sorts of video game shit on the walls, stuff like that.
Is that the one
Bar
you
area's
guys go
got Mega Man
to during PAX, Chris?
No, but we've been to it for like Extra Life meetings and shit. They have one in Renton too. It's one of the coolest places I've been. The whole menu is all video game or board game or nerd related. You can check out card games. They encourage you just sit at your table and play games for hours and just order drinks. You know,
Love that.
I think you're
Fantastic.
thinking you're thinking
Prices
of
aren't.
wrong. I think.
Say it again, Lyle.
You're thinking of GameWorks.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay.
Last question of the night here. Fox News and their commentators had some fun with Obama's seemingly lackluster terrorism speech, but none more so than Lieutenant Colonel Ralph. Sorry, I don't have the last name here. Ralph something.
Colonel Ralph.
Ralph.
That's a great character name.
I had it pulled up on YouTube. Ralph Peters, who decided to say, he looked into the camera and when asked what he thought about it and said, this. A, I think that he's a total pussy.
I can hear that.
Is it B, that he's crapped out pieces of poop that have more backbone than Obama does?
Ooh, yeah. Getting worse. Getting worse. This is our sitting president. Go ahead.
Or is it C, that he couldn't even get an erection for his wife after he heard the speech? Thanks, Obama.
Oh, okay. Well, who is this guy?
He's a lieutenant colonel. And I think he retired. And he had he's a commentator Fox News brought on. So he said one of these things in regards to Obama's speech on terrorism, and in regards to Obama specifically.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna go bold or go home. I'm going C.
Going C. You're going strong.
Yeah. Make a fuck joke about our sitting president on Fox News. Yeah.
John Mark.
I guess I'm gonna go with B.
Okay, that he's pooped out. He's crapped out pieces of poop that have more backbone than Obama does.
Oddly enough, I think that one is the more offensive one, though. I don't know. Putting a turd reference with Obama seems extra. It's worse than a sex reference.
Oh my God.
Maybe it's just some of the topics we've talked about tonight.
Maybe.
My association is all skewed.
Lyle?
I'm going to go with A. I think he called him a pussy.
But we are all over the map. It's going to be an interesting game tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Indeed. And Jesse?
I'm kind of stuck between A and B, but I think I'm going to go with B.
Okay. Let's go over the answer. See,
stuck between the pussy and the turd. A place we have all found ourselves, my friend.
It's where you're not supposed to push your poop, remember?
Everyone goes through that dilemma at some point.
All right, let's find out who won.
Okay, question 1. If you've ever had a hankering to name something unwanted after someone you dislike, you now have that chance. For $10, you can name a little baby cockroach at the Bronx Zoo.
Ah, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost too cute, though. It's almost too cute to give a little baby thing a bad name, right? I'm a cuckamaroach.
Yeah. Ron and Jesse got that correct for a point apiece.
All right.
Off to a good start here. Question 2. Pornhub released a fascinating infographic showing each state's most popular search terms for porn. Here in Washington State, the most searched porn term was indeed Asian.
Very nice. I am dying to see that whole infographic. That is a really interesting... they used to have this thing called Web Crawler. It was one of the earlier... It was before Google. It was, maybe somewhere between Netscape and Google. Remember Netscape? Anybody?
Yeah.
But
I still have an AOL account, bitch.
Do you? Well, AOL went on to do other things, though. The Time Warner thing was huge for AOL. But there was an option for you to click on real-time searches. Now, it wouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, it wouldn't show you who's searching, but it would show you where they're searching from, by even town. And people complained about it, so they got rid of it. But it was fucking fascinating. You would stare at it and just be mesmerized at the depravity of mankind, of the things that they were searching for. It would go by so fast. It would be like, how to start a small farm, how to rape and get away with it, how to ass rape without fucking lube.
My God.
Is condom sex worth it? And then it would be like, how to build a speaker system for my church, how to fucking kill my wife. It was unbelievable. 90% of it was fucking horrible.
And, sounds like YouTube comments.
Oh my God, I miss it so much. It was fascinating. I don't. If any listeners out there know of a site that does this still, let me know, because it was a fascinating view into the current.
Is interested.
It's you guys have to. If you haven't seen this, it is seriously alarming and fascinating. And it turned me on to a lot of stuff, not in terms of freaky, but asking about this particular band or what was the spaceship reference in this one song. That's what got me into a little band called Starcastle, now one of my favorite obscure prog bands of the 70s and 80s. So it was a fascinating thing. It was it was nonstop. It was real time. As quickly as it could catch up with the searches, it was telling you what people were searching for and where they were searching. It was like schizophrenia. It was amazing. Anyway, move on.
I need to upgrade my setup here. Doing everything from my fucking phone is just not conducive.
Yeah, you got to have a couple devices to really keep it going. I found I've got 4.
and a really nice amount of tape.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of tape.
All right, let's go to this. That'll give away the answer, but don't let it ruin the fun here.
Okay.
Question 3. Some athletes in Delta, Alabama recently got together for their yearly unorthodox race that proves the spirit of white trash is still alive and well. In their version of this race, they will race modified and reinforced Barbie Jeeps down a muddy, slopey hill. Oh, wow. Motherfuckers, play. Right. Just start playing this video. Just 1 minute. Just get 1 minute into it.
This is totally different than what I did. All right, let's give us a list. These are pretty fucking souped up. Now, it looks like they've got actual rubber tires, too. I guess I can turn down the heavy metal here a little bit.
Just give it a sec. Watch some of the footage.
Holy, ooh, that's some rough stuff. Okay, what do we got right here? So yeah, definitely rubber tires. Let's see how fast these are going. Oh, they're going downhill though. Oh, so there's no motors in these.
No.
These are just, they are going down a pretty good clip, like a mud, like a road somewhere out in the wood. Ooh, that's
right?
dangerous, son. You can go into one of those fucking trees. Ooh.
Right?
Yeah, I could see why you got stuck doing this before the podcast. That is dangerous. That's completely different than what I was doing. That looks fun, though.
I know, right?
And dangerous.
It keeps going back and forth between, like, an old man at the top that's like, oh, damn, son, yeah, he knows how to flip it. Like, and
oh, damn, son, you just lost your fourth vertebrae.
Like, yeah, like they get all excited. Oh, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, almost lost it there. Ooh, right at the end. Oh, there goes his fucking tire. Oh, that does look like a lot of fucking fun. At least I like the instant replay. What is so satisfying about watching humans getting hurt in slow motion? What is wrong with us that we enjoy that?
You're still watching it.
I'm still watching it. Okay, I better stop it. Fascinating stuff. Do post that video to the Facebook page, and I'll, of course, find it and post it in the spacepod.yuga.com forum for all you non-Facebookers.
Indeed. Let's see. Ron and Jesse got that correct.
Oh.
It's been the Ron and Jesse show.
Yeah,
so
we're
far.
kicking ass. Are we tied?
You guys are tied. Three for three, motherfuckers. All right. Question 4. Let's see how you
be one, Ron.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a throwdown, I fear.
This is getting real fucking interesting.
Get in your Barbie car, bitch. We're going to do this the only way I see fit.
Question 4. Video game makers Namco are partnering up with motherfucking Hooters to make a
Yes! Holy shit!
restaurant. In Tokyo only so far, but who knows, man? Maybe it'll come to Wenatch.
I am on fire tonight. Well,
Ron and Jesse got that correct. You guys both got that.
Neck and neck again. Motherfucker, I thought we went different... Boy, this might come down to the last answer. I think we had a different answer on that one, but I don't know why, but Namco is the company that made Pac-Man, so for some reason I see Pac-Man tits.
Wow, that's where you go with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, where I'd like to go is to fucking Pac-Man.
Did they release Dead or Alive too, or is that?
They did, yeah.
That's why, right?
I think so. I think so, isn't it?
Wait, what's the connection between Dead or Alive and Hooters?
They do like just massive tit women warriors
Bouncing up and down, and they have the beach volleyball games.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
All right. Question 5. Last question. This is where we separate men from mice. Fox News and their commentators had some fun with Obama's seemingly lackluster terrorism speech, but none more than this gentleman here. I'm just going to play it for you. It takes about 30, 40 seconds to get into where he says it, but man, is it great.
I can't wait for this.
He keeps speaking about we can't give in to our fears. Don't be afraid. Look, Mr. President, we're not afraid. We're angry. We're pissed off. We're furious. Yes. We want you to react. We want you to do something. You're afraid. I mean, this guy is such a total pussy. It's stunning.
Unbelievable. Total pussy.
Is that guy for real? He was in the military?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I buy that 100%.
What the fuck is going on?
I buy that 100%. So who got that?
Lyle got that right, motherfuckers.
So we tied.
So you tied. So that means Adam Andrews is the winner tonight. Good show, though.
Good
what a
job.
fucking duel. Woo.
Nice. Very good. I think Adam was the one that left that very kind comment about us, right?
And that was part of my Facebook I never got to.
Very fitting. Very happy that he won. I can't remember what he said, but it was just something like we were the one podcast he always looks forward to.
I have it right here. He says, Andrew Adams said, Great show once again. Love you guys. Please don't ever stop. You're my most look forward to podcast, which was really fucking sweet.
Yeah. Love that shit. Well, good job, Jesse. Holy shit. We were neck and neck the whole way. We will finish this again in the future via drunken Barbie car racing, or maybe we'll have you back on for another throwdown. I feel unsatisfied. I thought for sure one of us was going to come out the victor there. But anyway, that's how it rolls. Well, another solid list, and
That's how the tiny plastic wheel rolls.
Right the fuck under you, and then you roll your fat hillbilly ass down the hill. But going back to that what a fucking pussy the president is. Yeah, I buy that 100%. That some military dude would say that on Fox News. I mean, that seems pretty. But what I'm confused about is what do these people? This guy, it does represent a people. Yes, he represents an angry, typically white, I don't want to pinhole anybody because I'm not a lefty, I'm not a righty. But I would say this is a typically right-wing type feeling where they want our president to be more ballsy and to do something. But what do they want him to do? What was this? Was this talking about not letting the refugees in? Was it talking about? I don't know. What was it talking about?
It was in response to his anti-terrorism speech or something.
So it was just an overall, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't get fired up enough for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know. I suppose some people just I don't know. I don't know what people want, and this is true with no matter what we're talking about. Gun control. The people that are always crying for more gun control. Well, what do you want? What we have gun control. Do you want? Okay, you want more gun control, but there's a lot of steps in between what we have now and a gun ban. No one ever really talks about details. What are you talking about? Well, okay, we want harder. We want it to be harder to get guns. It's always sort of nebulous. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No matter what side you're on, no matter what you're talking about. Well, what do these people want Obama to do? Bomb every? It sounds like maybe Trump wants us to do away with every possible Muslim, at least keeping them from coming in the country. But what do they really want us to fucking do? I'm always lost on that. I don't think people spend a lot of time thinking. Well, period. I guess I can end my point there. They don't spend a lot of time thinking. But anyway, we should get out of here. We're getting long. Well, thanks so much, Jesse, for joining us. We will do round 2, my friend.
He's like, see ya.
You know what? I changed my mind. Oh, you, Captain Silent Pants.
Sorry, I just stepped away for a minute to grab me.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we're only doing a podcast here. Step away, masturbate, grab a cold piece of turkey.
I'm not a cast member.
All right, well, we will talk soon. That sounds nice and refreshing. Just open that. Tune in next week.
I got me some of that alcoholic root beer. I'm going to go try one right now.
Oh, nice. You know what?
I was missing this whole podcast. Fuck!
Oh, very tasty. I will say this. I got tired of it pretty quick because the thing about when you're enjoying a nice root beer, you're going to have like a glass of root beer, right? And then move on.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have 3 or 4 drinks,
you don't want it all to be root beer.
You don't want 3 or 4 root beers back to back to back because it gets pretty sweet and syrupy, and I got a pretty bad headache from just drinking 3. So word to the wise, it's not a let's sit around and have 2 or 3 drinks. It's a one and done type of thing.
Well, I think just like Obama, you're a total pussy.
Well, that's just your opinion. I'm not going to go in and bomb all the Muslims. Take a sip and let us know what you think.
I will. Good night, guys.
No, I mean right now.
I don't have it in front of me. It's in the fridge.
How far could the fucking fridge be?
I'm in the garage. Fridge is in the other room. I mean,
go to the fridge.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Open the fucking root beer and tell us how it fucking tastes.
I'm gonna take the laptop with me.
Do I gotta think of every genius radio bit live on air tasting of something people don't give 2 shits about?
Still have 2 cats that are alive. Check, Roger. They've been fighting.
Oh, have they?
All right, let's see. Open this bitch up. How they twist offs, Ron? Can you tell me from experience?
Which ones?
Hard root beer.
Is it not
Coney
your dad's?
Island?
Oh, I haven't tried the Coney Islands. I'm curious what they...
All right, you ready for this? Ready for this?
So ready. I know our listening audience is...
Okay, here we go.
Sure.
Actually, it's not bad. It's very vanilla-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't kidding.
I'll have to try that one. The one I was tasting was I had a kiss of banana. But I liked it. Very good for one anyway. Well, let's get on out of here. The Spacepod.uk.com, Ron at BannedFIlms.com. Tune in next week, 9/11, bitches. Why do we keep getting long?
Because old man Ron comes out.
I don't feel like I ranted this time, though.
This is just what happens when you evolve, I guess.
When you don't get out of the house all week long, you got to talk.
Keep adding shit. That's what happens. I mean,
more segments. This week in What's in My Butt Crack. All right, see you guys.
Well, we should really consider doing What's in My Butt Crack.
round 2, my friend.
He's like, see ya.
You know what? I changed my mind. Fuck you, Captain Silent
I'm
Pants.
sorry, I just